Does the claim that the world was peaceful under Trump have any merit? There were no wars is a common claim from Trump supporters. Is it true to say there was more peace under Trump? And was Trump the reason behind that, or did it just happen to be? If he was, what is it that he did? More generally, if the person in the White House does have any effect, what are some examples of how it has affected geopolitics in the last 30 years? The world was not under Trump. Emo. You'd be overlooking Syria and lots of other countries. It's theorized that due to Trump cozying up to other dictators that Trump was not opposing them. Thus, there is no conflict. Let's also not forget about the tariff war. Trump ripping up the Iran nuclear deal, and also threatening to withhold U.S. funds for NATO. Folks who think this aren't serious people and sometimes forget that there are other countries on the planet. Also, they don't understand how actions lead to other actions. It's unlikely you're going to convince a MAGA cultist of anything. I wouldn't waste your time. Let these folks band together, take their shot, and then watch the movement die into irrelevancy. There's memes about Obama being the drone strike king, but the Trump administration turbocharged drone strikes. Meanwhile, under Biden, they've effectively stopped. Look up the stats and confirm for yourselves. I've plenty to criticize Biden for, but that's one area he is getting limited no credit. Geopolitics has a lot of inertia. I'd argue that some of the conflict today is almost a direct result of Trump. For example, Trump's complacency on Russia made Putin think the time was right to invade Ukraine. A big reason, at least for Putin, is, why fight when they are giving you what you want? Ask yourself if Trump could point to Sevastopol or Gaza on a map, and you'll likely have a sense of how influential he was in those regions. It had absolutely nothing to do with Trump. First and foremost, the world was not under Trump. Secondly, just like his becoming president, it was all a fluke. Plus, don't forget he promised to withdraw from Afghanistan and, along with a million other things he said he'd do day one, never did it. Biden did pull us out, only to have that posse who preceded him criticize him for it. I don't think he had a big part in peace, but Reddit is the last place you ask this question. Trump's unpredictability mattered, but it caused more problems than it solved. I believe the originator of this line of thought is Trump. He is also the biggest ongoing supporter of this second-grade rhetoric. However, as usual, if he screams constantly into the echo chamber that is his and his supporters' home, it becomes fact. Ukraine would be at best a stump nation now, but more than likely completely part of Russia. Sure, no war, just a successful special military operation. How great that Putin is, he's my friend. Trump. This certainly would have happened. One can speculate till the cows come home over the Hamas attack. There were no wars or conflicts they were aware of. There was plenty going on when Trump was president. From a non-American perspective, not sure about there being no wars, but certainly no large-scale conflicts. But that's oversimplification for a more complex issue. Other parts of the world were absolutely better off with Trump. No question. Obama did it. Trump benefited. You can guess what the next thing I'm going to say is. Trump was so mentally unstable and ignorant of world politics, science, history, psychology, diplomacy, international law, and geography that I do think there is some merit in saying other countries were wary of setting him off. Trump single-handedly almost led the U.S. with war against Iran. No. Trump supporters don't know shit about their neighboring states, let alone other countries. Have you not seen who goes to Trump's rallies? The world was never under Trump. Didn't Trump order the assassination of an Iranian on Iraqi soil without permission? Doesn't sound like peace to me. No one is going to mention we were at war in Afghanistan? Not to mention the civil war we participated in for Syria. Or the ongoing war in Yemen? No. There were indeed wars under Trump. And if you'll hear it, know that Trump lies about everything. If he makes a credible point, it's by happenstance and not because it was meant to be factual. Repeat after me: you cannot trust anything Trump or his sycophants claim. No. Trump massively scaled up drone strike frequency while loosening civilian casualty restrictions. Trump assassinated a general, which led to 100 servicemen getting injured. The fact that didn't blow up in his face is in spite of him, not because of him. First, define war. That's all that matters. If the statement is the US wasn't in a new war, yeah, sure, I guess. But it's like saying weeks ago, under Biden, there was no war in Gaza. He bombed more than Obama, so no. World peace is a fable. There has never been and there will never be, so as long as there are people on Earth. The Tigrayan War was started using the same type of election denial rhetoric used by Trump in 2016 and 2020, during the final year of the Trump administration. While I'm not claiming that conflict is his fault by any means, it started under his watch and was justified in clearly Trumpian language. I don't define peace as a state of affairs where the president is acting belligerent toward Iran and North Korea and nearly starting wars with them, or when the president and his administration are trying to overthrow the government in Venezuela, or when the president is prohibiting the lawful entry of thousands Muslims from a number of countries, ripping them apart from their families. I could go on. Americans have a very skewed perspective if they consider this peace. America's primary rivals were getting what they wanted from the U.S. through political means in the Trump era. Why take action when Trump is himself busy torching 80 years of American security policy by torching NATO, cozying up with DPRK, etc.? That said, Syria and other hotspots were popping off all through the Trump years. No. A lot of answers, beginning with "in my opinion," and various prevarications, including "because he gave dictators what they wanted." OP is asking if it is true, from a geopolitical perspective, that the world was more peaceful as opposed to in conflict during his presidency. Let's answer that. Well, he's the first president since before WW1 to not have any new conflict involving the U.S. start during his presidency. Some of that is luck and timing. Some of it wasn't. Would Hamas have still attacked Israel or Russia invaded Ukraine had Trump been president and not Biden? Probably. But we can't know for sure. We do know that he was a lot tougher than Biden. More of a peace through strength kind of guy. I'm pretty sure that guy is going to rip up any Hamas supporter's visa if he gets elected. He ended the Afghanistan war. But other than that, I can't see any of his policies having much of a pro-peace impact. He seems to be suggesting that Ukraine should just surrender to Russia, which I suppose is one interpretation of peace, but not one I feel that would actually make anyone any safer or better off. Trump started the end of Pax Americana, retreating from America being the world's policeman. Biden followed the policy too. This is devolving to the pre-World War I type of many regional powers with many wars on their borders. Did he not say something about blowing up North Korea?